Hello, I'm Suzanne Ford. I'm the Dietitian Advisor for the NSPKU, the National Society for Female Ketonuria. On Thursday, the 18th of January 2018, the NSPKU had a political awareness event to which we invited MPs and also members of the PKU community. By this stage, the NSPKU had already analysed some of the data from the NSPKU survey, Living with PKU in the UK. We presented some of this data to the MPs and those present. However, we also really wanted to encapsulate individual experiences of what it's like to live with PKU, how it affects your day-to-day life or your life in specific circumstances. We are really grateful, that's the NSPKU and the PKU community are really grateful to individuals who were generous enough to share their own personal experiences and have made us some films to show at that event, but also subsequently allowed us to post these films of their lives and their experiences onto the internet. I think you'll find them very interesting to watch.
When we found out that Stanley had got PKU, we were just devastated. We were just heartbroken. It still makes me upset now, even 3 years on, to think about it. But we felt just all our plans, all our future plans for our family just slipping away. How are we ever going to go out to eat together? How are we going to celebrate Christmas? How are we going to celebrate birthdays? And just the guilt, really. The guilt's been really tough to deal with. I think, knowing that we've had that impact on his life has been really, really upsetting for us. For Stanley, having PKU, it's meant for his whole life he's had to be monitored just so closely with his height, his weight, his development, his blood levels. It's meant that his independence has really been hampered, really, because he's never able to choose his own foods, choose his own snacks. It has to be a set amount of protein in each one. When it comes to meal times, he has to have his protein substitute administered to him with a spoon. So he then expects us to feed him his meal afterwards. So he's been a bit more reluctant to feed himself. So when you compare him to his peers, he's not quite where he should be with that. For me and my husband, it's had just such a massive, massive impact on our lives. It wasn't what we planned. It wasn't how we saw our lives panning out. When we first found out and we were invited to a PKU event, and I just said, I don't want to go. I don't want to be involved in this. This is not what I had planned for us. And obviously we did go, but it just took a bit of time to come round to the idea. Everything in our lives is so regimented because everything in Stanley's life is so regimented. So, we have a meal planner which we write down all of his meals on every single day, so we can calculate what exchanges he has, so we can keep track. We have to make sure, we communicate every single thing that he's eaten, so we can work out, has he had enough overall protein throughout the day. Before we had Stanley, my husband and I used to eat out a lot, a couple of times a week, and we were thinking this week, and we haven't been out at all this year for a single meal out. We tried to go once with Stanley to a vegan restaurant, and it was so stressful. We ended up arguing through the whole meal and just went home. It was just so upsetting. Also, we've realised that the stress does have an impact on our relationship, and we can be snappy with each other, where if Stanley hadn't had PKU, that wouldn't have even entered our relationship. So it can be quite testing when you're both trying to do the best thing, especially when Stanley's poorly, and it's even more difficult to get the protein substitute in. That can be a really trying time, and when you're under stress you need each other, so that's a really difficult time. And now he's older, it's not really much easier because it's just a different range of things we have to take. Still the scale, still the spare batteries, medicines, spares, a range of snacks so that whatever snack somebody else is having, it looks similar. If we go somewhere where there is somewhere to eat, have to look on the website before we go, see what foods they do, maybe give them a call, ask them if they're willing to warm up food for a toddler, because a lot of places stop doing that once children are of a certain age. They don't really like you to take your own foods in. So such a lot of preparation means that we no longer have any spontaneity in our relationship. Everything is planned down to the finest detail. Having said that, he has said to me before that, "Mummy, I don't like food." And that was really, really upsetting because, as I've said, we celebrate with food all the time, and he's just doesn't take any enjoyment from meal times. He's a good boy and he has his protein substitute, but he doesn't ask for food. He doesn't show any enjoyment in trying new things, or he doesn't really have favourite foods, which it's really hard to see as a mum. As Stanley's PKU is milder, we think it could potentially be a responder for Kavan, and it would just mean a whole new lease of life for our family, because the freedom would be there, the stress would be lifted from us, just to know he's not so reliant on such a lot of protein substitute every day, to have a wider range of foods in his life, to be able to go places and just be spontaneous, just eat out, just pop round a friend's house without your big bag of food ready. It would just mean the world to us. I think I do worry about Stanley's mental health when he's older, about being involved, about, is he going to be the one that stands out from the crowd? I don't want that for him. I want him to be everything he can be, and I think, if he did have Kavan, it would allow him to just feel included and be the same.